Whenever you think of CRM, you should think of Salesforce. And whenever you think of Salesforce, you should also think of cloud computing, because Salesforce is one of the world's leading cloud computing platforms. And on that note, let me start today's session. My name is Vardhan, and on behalf of Edureka, I welcome you all to your first training class on Salesforce. So these will be the topics that I will be covering in today's Salesforce training. Alright, I'll first start off by talking about cloud computing and Salesforce. I will talk about what is cloud computing, what are the benefits of cloud computing, and how Salesforce came into the picture. Okay, I will talk about its need and its rise to prominence. And after that, I will talk about the features of Salesforce, the different products and services they offer, and how Salesforce works. Alright, basically the architecture of Salesforce. And when I'm done with that, I will go to the final part of today's session, which will be a demonstration. I will show you the Salesforce console. Okay, so the force.com is the console that I will be showing you. And after that, I will conclude today's session. The first topic that we have to talk about is what is cloud computing. Cloud computing is all about using remote servers to store, manage and process data rather than doing it on a local server or a personal computer. Now, when we say a remote server, it means that in a distant location, somewhere very far off, there will be a server or a system where your data will be stored, or your software application will be stored, and you will be accessing the data over there. And how will you do it? You will do it using the internet. You will not be storing it on your local server or on your personal computer or anywhere in your local infrastructure. So that is what is cloud computing. Basically using your software application over the internet. And this kind of an architecture basically involves two things. If you get these two concepts right, then you will understand what exactly is cloud computing. So with cloud computing, you will have your software applications which is delivered on the cloud, and it will be delivered on the cloud by a vendor. And similarly, the ones that will be using those software applications will be your clients. They will be again accessing the same application via the cloud. And the entire time I'm talking about cloud, right? When we say cloud, it's all about your internet. Your cloud is your internet, and whatever actions you perform, if you're using a software application or if you're accessing some kind of data or performing some kind of action, then it's called cloud computing. So internet plus some kind of action on the software is called cloud computing. Now, I'm pretty sure that this was a very simple slide, and I gave you an introduction to cloud computing because Salesforce is a cloud computing platform. And now that you know what's cloud computing, it's time you learn what is Salesforce. Salesforce is a cloud computing platform which provides service in the form of software or in the form of a platform. Now, the acronyms are software as a service and platform as a service. Now, the difference between the two is that if you're delivering a software application to your clients or your customers, then you're called a SaaS company. And if you're providing a platform where your clients can build their own software applications on that platform, then it's called a platform as a service company. And Salesforce, they are both a SaaS company and a PaaS company. Okay, they have various software, especially their very popular Salesforce CRM. Okay, now that's a software application which they provide, and they let their customers or clients use it. So they have the IoT cloud, they have the analytics platform, they have various software products. Okay, now all these are ready-made software products which clients or customers can use. And since they are using it in that way, the software which is provided to them is considered to be software as a service, and the company that's providing them, right, Salesforce, is considered to be a software as a service company. And when it comes to platforms, Salesforce are also very similar to Amazon. Okay, they provide hard metal resources. So there are databases which they provide, then there are computing instances which they provide, and again, you as clients or customers can use these resources to build whatever application you want on top of them. And when you do it, you are basically using a platform to build your service. And since Salesforce is providing you that platform, Salesforce would be called the platform as a service company. The service is again called as platform as a service. So that's what Salesforce is in today's world. They do these two things. But besides this, there are various other cloud models also. There is something called as infrastructure as a service. Then there is something called as anything as a service, and many more. All right. But Salesforce is not into all of those things, and they are just restricted to these two things: software as a service and platform as a service. And even over here, Salesforce have a strong foothold only in software as a service. Okay, they have various software solutions built, and they provide that as a service to their clients or their customers. And their clients and customers are very top companies in the world. The ones like Google, Amazon, Facebook, they're all one of Salesforce's customers. And they have a very good software model, and that's why Salesforce is that popular. But when it comes to the platform that they provide, it's not quite as popular as their software as a service model, but still it's a pretty good model, and they are still there in the market, and they provide the platform. So let's see the benefits of cloud computing and Salesforce, because whenever you learn something about anything, you should know what are the benefits and why you should use it. So that's what we're going to see here. Now, first of all, there are various benefits, and four of the most popular benefits or the most relatable benefits in all domains are that cloud computing, or Salesforce in particular as a cloud computing platform, is cheaper, it's more scalable, it supports team collaboration, and it's hassle free. Now, when we say it's cheaper, it means that with using a cloud computing platform, something like Salesforce, you would not be spending on hard metal. Okay, you will not be spending on separate infrastructure. You'll be using the cloud, right? You'll be providing the servers provided by Salesforce or any cloud computing platform. And since you will be doing that, you will be saving on a lot of money, and you will be saving on a lot of resources, a lot of space, and most of all, you will not have a lot of problems. You will be dealing with one less problem. Your problem will be only to get your software up and running, and it will not be to set up the infrastructure. And we also consider these things to be scalable, more scalable compared to you doing things on premise. Because if you want to suddenly scale up your company, right, so you have let's say two servers right now, and those two servers are providing services throughout the world. And in case next month, if you want to scale up your services, right, if you want to suddenly get 25 servers and basically make your service 25x, then you will have a problem, because you will have to first of all buy that many resources, buy that many servers or hard metal, and then get your infrastructure set up. Now that's a challenge, right? But if you're going for a cloud platform, then it's all already ready. So whether it's Salesforce or whether it's any other cloud platform, the service, the resources are already ready. Okay, you just have to make use of it. If you want to suddenly scale up your number of servers, then you can do it overnight. You'll not have a problem. That's the advantage. And the third thing is that they enable team collaboration, because first of all, with these things, there's a decentralized model of working. Okay, you will not be restricted to work only from office, since your application is not installed on your local servers. They are installed on remote servers, and you will be first of all accessing them over the internet. And the only need to access those applications or whatever is hosted through Salesforce or other cloud platforms, the only need for them is internet. And you can access them from your home or from anywhere around the world as long as you have internet. And since things are decentralized, you can also collaborate with your friends in a very good manner. You can collaborate with your other teammates, especially if you're a developer team. You can do that, right? So that's one big advantage. And last but not the least, the biggest benefit is that it's hassle free. You're not going to have a lot of problems with cloud platforms. You will not be setting up a lot of infrastructure. You will not be setting up everything. So whatever software you want, you can straight away avail your software, and it's just a payment away. You just make your payment and you get access to whatever you want, right? It's a very simple process, and overnight whatever you want will be ready and you can start working. Because otherwise you might have to first buy your infrastructure and then set up that infrastructure and then make sure the security is there, and you will have a lot of other headache. Because with cloud or with Salesforce, security also comes as a package. You don't have to worry about security because they are in a very good state. All right, so all you have to do is buy your instances, and once you've bought your instance, you can straight away start accessing them. All right, those are the benefits. But before I go any further, we have to always understand how Salesforce works. You've seen these benefits, you've seen what exactly Salesforce is, and it's time for you to understand on what architecture Salesforce runs. The architecture that Salesforce follows is basically the multi-tenant architecture and the metadata architecture. Now let me explain each of these one after the other. Let me start with multi-tenant architecture. Now the multi-tenant architecture means that you will have one particular instance which will be shared by multiple tenants. Like you're a landlord and you have a number of people who are renting your apartments, or who are renting your office space or your workspace. So that's how things work. You will have one server which would be acting as the instance for a number of clients of yours, and all of these clients can be using probably the same software or maybe different software. So you can have multiple software applications installed on that server, and different customers can be using different software as per their need. Or you can have one software application which is completely being hosted on that server, and that server would be the one that's provisioning the software to all your clients. Maybe you will have 10 clients who will be using that particular application which is hosted in this server. So that's what we mean by one server instance. Now the benefits with this single server instance is that it's very economical. Since you will have a lot of people sharing that server, the biggest thing is the resource. The resource for setting it up will be shared between all your clients, and even if you have to maintain that, you will not have a problem. If you want to upgrade that particular server at a later point of time, you will not have a problem, because the cost for upgrading it would be divided between the different clients, right? So you will not be handcuffed with financial problems. And also Salesforce as a vendor will not have a major problem. What they will have to do is just update one particular server of theirs, and then after updating one server, and all those 10 customers who are accessing that application in that particular server, they will all get the updated applications. Or if they are enhancing security, then all the 10 clients would be getting the updated security model and whatever. So whatever updates the company as the vendor you do, that would be reflected for all your clients, right? That's one advantage. And of course, the database would be one single database which multiple clients would be using to store data. But the important point that you should note is that there is something called as governor limits. Okay, so if any of you are thinking that there may be security issues and there may be instances where somebody else can get access to your data, because it would be shared by multiple people, right? If you have 10 customers, then what if one of them gets access to your data? That could be a possibility. And if you think like that, then don't worry, because there is something called as governor limits which would restrict that from happening. The governor limits would ensure that you get access to only your data from your server or from your database or from your computing instance, and nothing more and nothing less. And nobody else gets access to your data either. So that's what governor limits ensures, right? So that is the concept of multi-tenant architecture. But the multi-tenant architecture is not just limited over here. And then we have the metadata architecture of Salesforce. Now, what the metadata architecture of Salesforce does is that it takes your governor limits to the next level. So it's an extension of governor limits basically, right? In governor limits, we make sure that nobody else gets access to your data, right? And how is it done? It's basically done with the help of metadata architecture, where whatever data is there, that would be controlled by some kind of metadata. Your entire server would be divided into multiple orgs. So the technical term in Salesforce is a Salesforce org. As a customer, you will get access to a particular Salesforce org, and that particular Salesforce org will only be able to access that particular data to which it has the metadata access. So if you have X amount of data stored in a particular database, then to access that data, you should have a metadata. And if you only have that metadata, will you be able to access your data? And what this metadata is that technically it's defined as data about data. Now, what metadata means is that it would have details about where your data is present, what your data is all about, and who else inside your org can access that data, and how are the sharing rules, who can access your data, how will they access your data, all these things, right? So everything about your data, that would be stored in your metadata. So if you do not have metadata of a particular data, then you cannot use that. So let's assume that there is this one particular server which will be shared between 10 clients, and let's just consider 2 clients for that, for our example, client 1 and client 2. Client 1 will have X amount of data present in the database, and client 2 will also have his own data, right? And the client 1 will only have metadata related to his data, and same thing with even client 2, because even the client 2 will have only the metadata related to his own data. And since they will not have access to the metadata of each other's data, they cannot access each other's data. It's as simple as it gets. You have tenant specific metadata which would be used to access your tenant specific data. So it's your metadata which actually matters, and this is what enforces your whole governor limits. And based on that, we have a lot of processes inside your Salesforce org which is controlled. Okay, your assignment rules, your sharing and security model, the visual force pages that you create, the triggers and apex which respond, and then various objects and page layouts like accounts, contacts, leads. All these things are all eventually controlled by your governor limits and your metadata. So that is about the architecture of Salesforce and how Salesforce works. Let me go forward and straight away talk about the different products and services which is offered by Salesforce. So Salesforce provide all these services. Okay, they provide Sales Cloud, they provide Marketing Cloud as a service, they provide something called as a Service Cloud, they provide something called as an Analytics Cloud, Community Cloud, the App Cloud, which is actually a platform as a service. They provide a Commerce Cloud, then they provide an IoT Cloud, and most of all, they provide something called as the Health Cloud. And Salesforce provide all of these cloud services. Let me talk about each of them in brief and tell you what each of these services are about. So your Sales Cloud is again a service which is going to control your sales processes. Now let's say if in your company, if you have a team of a lot of people who are working as sales representatives, then they would need a platform where they can share the data, right? They would need a place where all the customer details or your lead details would be present. What is the email address? What is the phone number? All these details. And they should be able to communicate with each other and let each other know that they are contacting a particular salesperson. So for doing all these activities, you have something called as a Sales Cloud platform. And with this, you have clear segregations between who are the leads, who are the customers, who are opportunities, who are your contacts or who are your accounts, all these things. And basically your sales process is very refined with the help of your Sales Cloud. That's one very popular service that they provide. And besides this, there is one more service called as the Marketing Cloud. Now sales is all about doing the sales, right? But how will you get people to actually sell your products to? So for that, you have something called as a Marketing Cloud. Okay, your Marketing Cloud is all about performing your marketing activities. It's one cloud service which can be used to perform your marketing campaigns, like your mass emailers or mass SMS services. And then if you want to perform any kind of digital marketing activities, then for all these purposes you can use your Marketing Cloud, right? You can maintain the profile, your social media profile of all your customers or all your leads, and then you can find out what are their interests, what are their hobbies, and basically you will find a way to target them better with the help of this Marketing Cloud. And then they provide something called as a Service Cloud, and the Service Cloud is again very similar to these two cloud services. And as the name suggests, Service Cloud is all about providing your customers with the best possible service, right? I mean, what happens most of the time is that your customers would not be happy with some kind of product, or they might have a query about your product. So they might want to raise some doubts, right? They might want to contact you. So whenever they try to contact you with the help of Service Cloud, what happens is the query that they raise or the question that they put in, that would be generated as a ticket. Okay, and that would be assigned to a particular service agent from your company. So it would help make sure that the particular ticket is resolved and the particular client is responded. Okay, so there will be no person who will be left unresponded, and you will have a clear visibility with the help of this Service Cloud as to who are your service agents, how many tickets did they solve on a daily basis, how many tickets or queries did you get from your customers, what kind of tickets are you getting from them, why are you getting those kind of queries, and who are your best service agents who are servicing those tickets, and all these details, right? So you have a lot of options with the help of Service Cloud, and you can basically improve your customer satisfaction. And then we have the Analytics Cloud, which is again very obvious from what it sounds. It's a platform where you can do analysis. Okay, you can integrate your Analytics Cloud with your Sales Cloud, with your Marketing Cloud, and your Service Cloud, and find out and basically get business insights. You can understand why certain marketing campaigns of yours failed, or why some marketing campaigns of yours received a good response. You can understand what was your sales over the last few months, why has there been a decline, or why has there been a rise in the number of sales on a monthly basis. You can get answers to all these things, right? Because data analysis is really important, and if there are business analysts, then they will be using this analytics platform. So that is this. And then we have something called as the Community Cloud, which Salesforce offered. And the Community Cloud is basically used for giving your customers a platform where they can talk to each other. Now, similar to what we have with Edureka, there is a community where our different learners can put in their questions, and it's not just the support team which will answer to it, but the other learners, they can respond and they can share their problems, and all these kind of things happen on our community, right? So similar to that, there is this kind of a community which Salesforce offer. And in this kind of a community, your clients can collaborate with each other, they can raise doubts and get each other solved, and if they have faced the same problem, then they can help each other out, and all those things is possible, right? It's basically something that would help enable communication between your customers, and that would also give them a better interest, right? So if they know that there are people who are facing similar problems, then they will relate to it better and they will stick onto your product. So that's how Community Cloud helps. And then next comes the App Cloud. Now the App Cloud is a very major service offering of Salesforce, because whatever apps you want to customly build, right, with the help of your developer team, then you do it with the help of this App Cloud. So there are various App Cloud platforms like Salesforce Lightning. You have the Force.com platform, of course. You have Salesforce One, which is for building mobile applications, and then you have Heroku, and then you have many more platforms, right? Now these are the platforms on which you can build your own applications, probably by designing it with programming logic or whatever. But whatever it is, to use these developer platforms and to build your own application on Salesforce, you have to subscribe to this App Cloud. So that's what it is. And then we have something called as the Commerce Cloud. And the Commerce Cloud is something that would help you better your e-commerce. Especially if you're an e-commerce company, then it would give you insights, or this cloud platform would enable you to do a better version of e-commerce sales. It would help you give insights. It would help recommend different products to your different clients. If one of your clients has bought product number X, and if there's a pattern of other people buying product Y after buying product X, then a new client, whoever, or a new customer, whoever buys product X, could be shown product Y, right? So that's the recommendation engine which powers that. And you might have noticed all those things on your platforms like Amazon or Flipkart. That's exactly what we are talking about over here, and that can be achieved with the help of the Commerce Cloud. And then Salesforce also provides something called as the IoT Cloud, and the IoT Cloud is that cloud which would help your systems integrate with your various IoT devices. If you're a company, especially that's dealing with IoT devices, then all the logs or all the data that is coming in from your IoT devices can be gotten onto your IoT cloud, and then you can do analysis over here. You can integrate your IoT cloud with your analytics cloud, and you can understand a lot of details. You can understand about your devices, how your process is happening. And basically, this cloud platform is something that supports or enables the Internet of Things architecture to work. And then we have something called as the Health Cloud. Now, the Health Cloud is again very similar to a CRM platform which is used for sales or for service purpose. And the only difference here would be that it's going to be used by doctors and by patients. Your patient records could be stored on this platform, and who your doctors were could be stored, and what are the various diseases, what are the possible treatments that you can get, and basically the health record of a particular patient could be stored here, right? And this could be used by hospitals, especially for those major hospitals which are dealing with major ailments. So on a high level, these are the different products and services which Salesforce offer. So this is the power of Salesforce. Okay, so these are the different services that they offer, and that's why they have a very strong foothold in today's market. And trust me when I say that Salesforce is one of the leading companies in this cloud computing domain. So those are the products that they offer, and in today's market, Salesforce is probably used by most of the companies, most of the top companies, I would say. Google, Twitter, Amazon, Facebook, they are all some of Salesforce's major clients. And the kind of products that they offer to these companies are could be in the form of call center and phone systems, which is nothing but BPO type of software. And then we have financial systems, right, to track a lot of financial funds, to make sure there's no fraud. You might have a lot of software applications in place, and those kind of applications are probably created on Salesforce. So for that, you have certain applications, and of course the very popular HR systems, right? So for the HRs to maintain your employee records, you might want a platform, and that's what this could be, right? Salesforce could be using this for that purpose, and that's what Salesforce are today. And before I go to the demo, let me just talk about the certification roadmap for Salesforce. So if you're getting introduced to Salesforce today, then it's important that before you embark your journey in Salesforce, you should understand what are the certifications that are there. So if you're one who's planning to embark your journey in Salesforce, then you should understand what kind of job roles are out there and what kind of certifications should be pursued to get certain job roles. So basically, there are two tracks. One is the developer track, and the other is the administrator track. Let me first go with the developer track. So formally, we had two different certifications. We had something called as the Dev 401 and Dev 501. Now these two certification exams are replaced by, rather let's say renamed to Platform App Builder and to Platform Developer 1 respectively. So again, these two certifications are related to developing software applications on the Salesforce platform. But the Platform App Builder is not going to be developing the application with programming logic. So it's going to be with the drag and drop functionality or with just touch and play. And if you want to actually build your application with programming logic, which is a more comfortable way or a more flexible way, then you can go for the Platform Developer 1. But of course, you would have to have expertise in Apex programming language, because Salesforce applications are built on Apex, and you can go for this certification also. But what you should note is that if you're joining as a fresher, then most of the companies generally they do not expect you to do these basic certifications, right? A lot of these companies would first hire you, train you on Salesforce, get you start working on Salesforce, and then they will pay for your certification exam, and they'll make sure that you clear the exam, right? So the companies do that for you. Most of the time, they buy the certification for you. But yeah, that's the difference between these two. So the Platform App Builder is all about building your application with the UI itself, what you have, or it could be done with the programming logic. And these are the two certifications. And once you're done with these two basic certifications, you can go for any one of these advanced certifications. Okay, there is something called as Platform Developer 2, which could be pursued after Developer 1. And then you have Technical Architect certification, which can be pursued after your Platform App Builder. All right. So your Technical Architect certification is a very senior certification, and this can be pursued even after your Platform Developer 2. Okay, so that's how the hierarchy goes over here. Okay, so these are the four important certifications you should keep in mind if you want to get into Salesforce development aspect. But if you want to stick to your Salesforce administration aspect, then you can move to either Service Cloud or Advanced Administrator certifications eventually. But whatever it is, you have to first go for the basic certification, that is the ADM 201. Okay, this administrator certification is called as ADM 201. And once you're done with your basic certification and once you have experience working as a administrator, as a Salesforce administrator, then you can go for specifications in one of these fields, as either a sales cloud consultant or as a service cloud consultant or as an advanced administrator, or various other tracks are there. So if you want to understand more details about the various certifications that are there in Salesforce and how they can be pursued, then I would request you to go to Edureka's YouTube channel and search for their Salesforce certification video. And over there, I've explained this concept, and you can get a better understanding of the certifications in that video. But in the meanwhile, let me just continue with the session and go to the next part, which is going to be your hands-on session. Because now that you know about the certifications and now that you know about the technology, it's time I show you or give you a glimpse of the power that Salesforce holds. This is my force.com platform. So with Salesforce, you have a force.com platform, or you have a Lightning app builder platform, or you have a Heroku platform, or you have various other platforms. The default one is your developer one. Okay, so this is your basic force.com developer platform where you can build your applications as with both programming logic and with drag and drop functionality. So if you want to be an app builder, then you can create one Salesforce org for yourself and you can store various data here. But today I don't want to go into details about the developer aspect. So this is your Salesforce CRM, and I want to restrict myself to just the CRM aspect. And when we say CRM, it's all about customer relationship management, right? And if you have a huge customer base with whom you want to refine your sales process, then you should have some kind of a CRM like this, where you will have tabs or objects with respect to different people. So you have different objects over here like leads, accounts, contacts, opportunities, forecasts, and contracts, orders, and all. So these are all called as different objects, and each of these objects stand for a particular thing. So in the leads object, you will have details about all your leads in your system. Okay, so you will have probably n number of leads in your system, right, who might be potentially interested in your product, and they could eventually buy your product at some point of time. So those people could be considered as leads. So you will need to maintain their records. So if you want to maintain their records, then you should have something like this in picture, right? So that's what the leads object is all about. Now if you go to the accounts object, then over here you're going to have details about the different companies your leads or your customers are going to work for. So you have various companies like CTS, Burlington Textiles, you have Dickinson, you have Edge Communications, you have GenPoint, you have Google. So all these are various companies where your leads or your customers could work for, right? So that's why they are called accounts. And these accounts could comprise of both your leads or your contacts. So the contacts here in our case are your actual customers. And of course in the accounts object, you will not have these details. You will have details with respect to that particular company, as to what the name of the company is, who are the different leads working for this particular company, what are the contact details of this particular company, and all these details. And then like I said, if you go to the contacts object and if you filter your view over here, then you will have details about your already existing customers, the people who have bought some kind of product from you. You will have their details, you will have their name, you will have their phone number, email, title, their designation, all these things. And trust me, you can customize all these things. If you want to only see the name and the phone number, then you can customize the view such that only these two columns are visible. The other columns would be hidden. And the same thing can be applied to all these objects. So all these are objects which give you one particular view of your data, right? Your leads data, these are the different fields that are there in your leads data. You have your name, which of course consists of your first name and your last name. You have your email address, you have your company that the lead works for, the lead status, whether that particular lead has been connected, has he been contacted already, or is he yet to be contacted, or is he not going to buy the product from you? So in that case, you would be closed. All these details, all these are called fields, and this particular entire relation between these fields is called an object. And then you have various objects, and besides this contacts objects, you have something called as the opportunities objects. And in this opportunities objects, you will have details about those leads who are more interested in buying, right? Who are potential leads, or we call that potential hotpots. So these are the people who are most likely to buy. So their details would be present over here, and of course all the related details to theirs, right? Like the company they work for, the account name, the amount that they would be potentially paying, what is the date by when they would be paying, and then the various and the stage, right? Is it a closed one? Is it a prospecting lead? Has he qualified to be an opportunity? All these things. right? So you have various opportunities here, and especially if you're a person from the sales background, you will understand a lot of things here. You will understand how easy it is to maintain your customer records over here with the help of such a view. Now this is just with respect to the sales cloud, and if you want to customize your view, you can also customize it in such a way that you get details about your sales and your service and your marketing on the same application. So the drop down that you see over here will let you switch to different applications. So I have a couple of applications here. One application is called my first application, one is called student app, the other is called YouTube live demo. But however, right now I'm in the sales app, and the other apps are like service, marketing, app launcher, community. These are the other applications that are already there as default within Salesforce. And my view in this sales app is defined such that I also have details about my customers. What are the cases, what are their queries that they have raised, and what kind of services are they being offered by our service agents, and all these details. That's because it's my view. And if I go to their objects, then you can understand what kind of problems that they could potentially rise. Whenever someone raises a ticket and says that they have a problem, then you would get this kind of a ticket. You would get the case number first, because each and every ticket and each and every query would be tracked with a different ID, and that ID, unique ID, is the case number. And over here you can see that the name of the person who raised this particular doubt is Kristen, and then this is the company this person works for, and then this person is a very senior person, and this is the designation. And you can also see details about what is his problem. So if you go back here, you can see that this person is seeking for guidance on something, right? So this is the subject of his query. He's seeking guidance on electrical wiring installation. So if you have problems like this, you can track it like this. And if you want to make sure that these tickets or these queries are serviced right away with high priority, then you can also control that. You can assign different service agents to whom these accounts or to whom these tickets will be assigned to. And to your service agents, it would look like this, right? So each and every ticket that they get, it would be assigned with a priority, a low priority or a high priority or a medium priority, and they can concentrate on solving these tickets based on the priority levels, right? But this way you also make sure that your most important tickets are solved right away, and your customers don't go away unhappy. This is one effective way to handle your customer business, right? Your customer relationship. And that's why you need a CRM platform, and that's why Salesforce is the one which I recommend to you, because Salesforce is the #1 CRM out there. And besides all these things, so Salesforce also offer a number of other services, right? Like the marketing cloud service, like the analytics cloud service, and many more. But however, I cannot show you a demonstration of every single cloud platform over there, and I would restrict today's session to just this. So thank you for being a part of the session, and happy learning from Edureka.